Hello and welcome to YNWA Transfer News, your ultimate source for all Liverpool FC transfer news. Our first news is this.
Gary Neville urges Arne Slot to ditch Liverpool formation and start overlooked star. Gary Neville has advised Arne Slot to abandon his preferred 4-2-3-1 formation if he hopes to turn around Liverpool's flailing fortunes. The Reds slipped to 11th in the Premier League table after a crushing 3-0 defeat at home to struggling Nottingham Forest on Saturday. The reigning champions have now lost 6 of their last 7 matches in the English top flight and tasted defeat in 8 of their last 11 games. Across all competitions, such a slump comes despite winning the Premier League title with ease last season, and then embarking on a £450 million spending spree, breaking the British transfer record twice in the process to sign Florian Wirtz and Alexander Isak. However, despite bringing in 8 new senior players, most of Liverpool's fresh faces have struggled to hit their stride since arriving at Anfield. At the same time, several Reds players have failed to replicate the performances that helped them secure the Premier League title last season, with Ibrahima Konate and Mohamed Salah coming under particular scrutiny. Reports the YNWA. And with Liverpool's defeat to Forest highlighting their defensive weaknesses, having conceded 30 goals from their 19 games this season, Neville insists that Slot should switch to a 4-4-2 formation and introduce Joe Gomez at right back in an attempt to rescue the Reds' season. The manager has to change the style or the system and help them, he said on the Gary Neville podcast. It means being more solid in midfield and the back, and personnel changes. Milos Kerkez is struggling. Ibrahima Konate is struggling, so do you have to put 4 centre-backs in your back four and keep a narrow, tight back four and tell everyone you mean business to keep clean sheets and stop teams having chances on your goal? Then in midfield, you put a narrow four in there. That could be Dominic Szoboszlai, Alexis Mac Allister, Ryan Gravenberch and Florian Wirtz, or Cody Gakpo tucked in a bit more narrow, and you might leave Mo Salah off Hugo Ekitike or Alexander Isak or play Ekitike and Isak. Leave them up there. Work as a 2 and do something a bit different. It feels a bit basic and I'm telling Arne Slot what to do, but I've seen world-class managers drop their ego on how we are going to play. Forget we're a great side and a great club. You're not at this moment. You're easily beatable, so have to do something different and pay teams respect and change. I called on it a few weeks ago. I said maybe Joe Gomez should play right back, Andy Robertson at left back and play as a narrow back four. Be a bit more pragmatic. Something has to change in the collective in terms of how they are going to play. From an individual perspective, you have to strip it right back to the foundations, whether that's sleep, stretching, eating, the tiny details. Do everything better. Slot is a brilliant manager with real class, but he's got to reverse and do something different, maybe make some difficult decisions. He's going to come under pressure. Let's not get too carried away with that. The players have to step up, or it will become a problem. Brendan Rodgers' comments loom large for Arne Slot after Liverpool horror show. Liverpool's dreadful form has left the Reds with their poorest league start since Brendan Rodgers was in charge more than 10 years ago. Arne Slot's squad endured a stunning 3-0 home thrashing by Nottingham Forest at the weekend, marking their 6th defeat in 7 Premier League outings. The result represented Liverpool's joint heaviest home loss of the Premier League era, sending the club tumbling to 11th position. Slot's team are experiencing a comparable decline to the one Rodgers' side endured in 2014. Losing 6 of their opening 12 games, just months after coming agonizingly close to claiming the league title. The Reds were 4 points worse off in 12th at the same stage of that season. However, the club's current problems appear even more glaring given their status as defending champions. Liverpool's lavish summer spending heightened expectations, smashing their transfer record twice. Rodgers previously highlighted the extra burden that comes with marquee signings during his time at Anfield, when asked for his thoughts before Liverpool's crushing loss to Chelsea in April 2014. Rodgers maintained that the Reds had more freedom than their freer spending rivals. People talk about pressure, but it's absolutely wonderful, Rodgers said. Everyone talks about pressure, but that is Manchester City or Chelsea. When you spend that sort of money and expect to win the league. Look at Tottenham, you spend over £100 million, you'd expect to be challenging for the league. For Rodgers, the scrutiny intensified during the subsequent season. Liverpool splashed out over £100 million in total on players such as Emre Can, Adam Lallana and Mario Balotelli, but couldn't replicate their earlier success. Rodgers guided the Reds to 6th place, yet he was ultimately dismissed in October 2015 following another sluggish start. Liverpool's current dismal form, suffering defeat in 8 of their previous 11 matches across all competitions, has placed Slot under mounting pressure. Despite being a title-winning boss, Slot will continue to be questioned while his team is on a losing run. A club faltering after claiming the title is not unprecedented. However, Liverpool's costly summer acquisitions, including record purchases Florian Wirtz and Alexander Isak, bring Rodgers' historical comments into sharp focus. The lasting effects of Diogo Jota's tragic passing should not be dismissed when discussing a Liverpool squad still grieving. Yet Slot was ready to accept complete accountability for his team's failings against Forest on Saturday. Of course there is a way out, especially with the quality players we have, Slot said. No matter if you win or lose, if you make a lineup or make substitutions, when you look back you are also thinking where can we do better, where we can adjust. But that is something else from doubting yourself. I want to emphasize I am responsible for the current losses. You are responsible when you are winning, but also responsible when you are losing. I can never come up with enough excuses for us to have the results we have. That is far from good enough, and I am responsible for that. Despite the recent downturn, Slot remains hopeful that his gifted team can return to winning ways, having kicked off the league season with 5 straight victories before their dramatic dip in form. This would be a contrast to Rodgers' reign, as the ex-Liverpool manager failed to launch a second title bid before Jurgen Klopp took over in 2015. Liverpool's stance on sacking Arne Slot revealed as Nottingham Forest thumping plunges Reds deeper into crisis. Arne Slot's future is in the spotlight after Liverpool's 3-0 Premier League defeat to Nottingham Forest on Saturday at Anfield plunged the Reds deeper into crisis. The loss was Liverpool's 6th in 7 Premier League matches and means Slot's side are in the bottom half of the table after 12 games played. Questions are now being asked of the Dutchman and his methods, particularly after a big spending summer that saw costly stars such as Alexander Isak, Florian Wirtz and Hugo Ekitike arrive. Liverpool's stance on Slot's future revealed. Despite Liverpool's dismal start to the season, the Reds currently have no intention of sacking Slot, according to Fabrizio Romano. The transfer guru offered an update on the situation on YouTube, explaining, "What's going on with Arne Slot? Guys, at the moment I have no information that the Liverpool owners are thinking of making an immediate decision about Arne Slot, so Liverpool are not thinking of changing the manager right now. Of course, the owners, the club, want to see different results. They expect a lot more from Arne Slot and his team. Surely Liverpool expect to see something different from both the manager and the players. Because it's not just Arne Slot, the players also have to take responsibility, as Virgil van Dijk said. So it's like the players and the manager. Arne Slot knows that the situation is dangerous, complicated, but at the same time he feels the support and trust of the club. Liverpool are not in talks with any other manager and are not even considering the possibility of sacking the manager. This is the current situation. Of course, the results have to change, and quickly, both in the Champions League and in the Premier League, especially in the Premier League, because Liverpool are really in a complicated situation. This is the feeling today. Liverpool going backwards under Slot. Former Arsenal defender Martin Keown feels that Liverpool are going backwards under Slot. The manager spent heavily in the summer to rebuild his squad, with Jeremy Frimpong, Milos Keres and Giovanni Leoni also arriving, but has seen his team go on to lose half of their Premier League matches. Keown told BBC Sport, "Whether it's a crisis, I don't know. It's certainly a major problem for the manager to go 6 defeats from 7. Unthinkable. The wheels are coming off now for Arne Slot. It was Jurgen Klopp's team and he has tried to come in and make changes, but he has spent £450 million on players and they are going backwards." Van Dijk admits Liverpool are in a mess. Slot admitted the defeat to Nottingham Forest was a very, very bad result, and captain Virgil van Dijk says the team are in a mess. The Dutch star also feels the players are letting their manager down and has called on the squad to improve quickly. "We had a great 3 or 4 days preparation, but in a game you are dealing with facts, and the facts are we conceded a set piece in the first half and a terrible goal at the start of the second half," he told reporters. "We are definitely letting him Slot down, but we've let ourselves down as well. You look at yourself first and then you help each other. You help each other get out of this mess because at the moment it is a mess. That's just a fact." As the champions, we can't be in the situation we are in right now. What are we going to do about it? We're going to try to turn it around, and that's the mentality everyone should have. Liverpool transfer news. Arne Slot pressure, Mark Gehi claim. Antoine Semenyo latest. Liverpool head coach Arne Slot is under increasing pressure after their latest defeat. The Reds slumped to a 3-0 home defeat to Nottingham Forest as they failed to heed their slump, with problems persisting at Anfield. They sit 11th in the Premier League table, 11 points off pace-setters Arsenal, and at risk of falling further behind in the race to qualify for the Champions League. After the November international break, the run of fixtures looked winnable on paper for Liverpool and a good opportunity to restore confidence and momentum. But the reigning champions look bereft of confidence and find themselves under immense scrutiny after failing to lay a glove on Sean Dyche's side. Odds on Slot to leave Liverpool have been slashed after a run of 6 defeats in their last 7, leading to the likes of Jurgen Klopp and Steven Gerrard, who was pictured back on Merseyside at the weekend, linked as possible successors. The January transfer window is just over a month away, and Liverpool have continuously been linked with players from around the world. The speculation will intensify in the coming weeks, with players dubbed as solutions to the current woes in L4. Mark Gehi has been ever-present in the Liverpool rumour mill after the Reds failed to land him during the summer transfer window. The Crystal Palace defender is out of contract at Selhurst Park at the end of the season, and it appears that he could be out of the door in South London. However, due to the downturn in form for Ibrahima Konate plus his own contractual issues, as well as a lack of defensive options at the back for Liverpool, it has been suggested that he could be targeted for a move at the turn of the year. Meanwhile, Antoine Semenyo reportedly has a £65 million release clause in his Bournemouth contract. Liverpool are said to be admirers of his services and could target him in January, but reports suggest there is a deadline to sign the 25-year-old for the discounted price. Jurgen Klopp favorite to replace Arne Slot. Supporters are rubbing their hands together at the thought of Liverpool's recent collapse. The Reds are cut adrift in the title race and need a turnaround in confidence to spark a push for Champions League qualification. Arne Slot is under pressure to turn around their fortunes after a turgid run and another dour performance at the weekend. Bookmakers Betfair have crunched the numbers with a list of replacements lined up. Jurgen Klopp is favorite. Liverpool interested in Antoine Semenyo. Fabrizio Romano has claimed that Liverpool are seriously interested in Antoine Semenyo. The Reds have been linked with the 25-year-old Bournemouth star ahead of the January transfer window. The forward has been in fine form for the Cherries, and for Arne Slot, he will be without Mohamed Salah in December and January due to the Africa Cup of Nations. Romano said, "I maintain my information on Antoine Semenyo from Bournemouth. Liverpool have his name on their shortlist for sure. Liverpool are considering Semenyo for the January transfer window." The Reds are well informed on the disclosed £60 million plus £5 million. Semenyo remains a topic for Liverpool for sure. Is a player they are tracking, is a player they are following. Now what has to happen to see moving to Liverpool? Liverpool need to decide internally what they want to do in January. Something like, okay, we like this player, let's go for it. After spending big money in the summer, they need to decide on the technical and financial point of view what they want to do in the January transfer window. So this is going to be decided in the next weeks for sure. But Liverpool are seriously considering Semenyo. They're not the only club, because I told you last summer Semenyo was in the list of Man United. Last summer Semenyo was in the list of Tottenham. Manchester City are also following the players, so keep an eye. Also Man City. There is a lot of interest in Semenyo. It is an opportunity on the market. A player who is doing fantastic for Bournemouth for this money, which is a big amount but still worth it. And so for sure Liverpool are really interested in the player, tracking the player. Liverpool transfer news: Mark Gehi, Nico Schlotterbeck, Antonio Silva, Goncalo Inacio and Dayot Upamecano, caught offside, have reported that Liverpool have made defensive additions a priority in the forthcoming January transfer window. According to the outlet, sources have revealed to them that Liverpool have identified defensive targets to strengthen their backline. Among them is Mark Gehi, who is said to be the front-runner or leading candidate, Borussia Dortmund defender. Nico Schlotterbeck is another who has been mooted as an option. Meanwhile, Benfica defender Antonio Silva has been named as a possible target. Goncalo Inacio has returned to the rumour mill, and the Sporting CP defender has been tipped as a player of interest at Anfield, as well as Dayot Upamecano. Liverpool. Scouts spotted in Croatia. According to Croatian outlet Novi List, Liverpool had scouts in attendance for HNK Rijeka's encounter against Hajduk Split. It has been claimed that representatives from the Reds were in attendance for the 5-0 win over Rijeka. There are no concrete evidence or links of who Liverpool may have been scouting, but the outlet suggests that it could have been to get a closer look on Tony Fruk of HK Rijeka, a 24-year-old attacking midfielder, and Hajduk Split's Rokas Pukstas, also an attacking midfielder. Branimir Mladic, 18, and Dominik Thaki were also mooted as possible scouting targets.
Thank you for watching. Like and comment, subscribe.